This is perhaps the most advanced 3D printer in the world. In less than a minute, it prints a very impressive amphibious rapid response tank, which is equipped with various advanced weapons and has a top speed of about 75 miles per hour. But what surprises viewers the most is that a super soldier is also printed along with the tank. A dark knight, glowing with red light, appears in front of everyone. That is Ares, the most advanced code-based digital human in history, created by Dillinger Systems. Digital humans like this have strength and speed unattainable by humans. They do not need to eat or drink, can be produced in unlimited numbers, and are destroyed immediately after use without taking up any space. When Dillinger Systems CEO Julian is speaking, Ares gives him a look that others don't see, looking surprised and unhappy with the cold, ruthless speech. The clients are satisfied with Dillinger Systems' new product, but after the group leaves, red lines suddenly start flickering on Ares's body, and he begins to decompose violently. The giant tank behind him also turns into a pile of powder. Originally, Julian hid an important detail from the clients. These AI products are imperfect and can only survive for 29 minutes in the real world. Julian is deeply troubled by this. If he can find the permanence code, he can completely solve this fatal problem. Meanwhile, Ares, who had just died in the real world, suddenly comes back to life. Now, he is in a world that is specifically for virtual digital humans, that is, the electronic network world. Ares is the master control program of this world, and all digital humans obey her orders. While Julian is entangled in the permanence code problem, his rival, Eve, the CEO of Encom, discovers a secret base in the snowy mountains of Alaska. She has come here because it is where her genius sister Tess lived before she died. Tess left her a very important gift here. On the wall hangs a portrait of Kevin Flynn, the original founder of Encom. He created the first virtual world of digital humans and lived there for over 20 years. His son, Sam Flynn, entered the virtual world, found his father, and brought a digital human back to the real world. Sam then handed over control of Encom to the sisters and left. Now, Eve searches disc by disc to find Tess's gift. He and his friend Seth search the frozen base for 4 full days and finally find what Tess left behind. It's a piece of program code, and that's the permanence code everyone's been looking for. Eve immediately begins an experiment. She prints out an orange tree loaded with fresh, plump oranges from the base's printer. Seth plucks an orange and throws it at Eve. They began a 29-minute countdown. When the time runs out, the orange tree neither breaks nor dissolves. It seems their experiment was a success. Eve really did leave Tess the permanence code. At that moment, Eve's rival, Julian, hacks into the company's servers, trying to steal all of Eve's data in order to find any trace of the permanence code. He assigns this difficult task to Ares in the virtual grid world. Ares leads a squad to infiltrate Encom's virtual city, cutting a large hole in the wall and entering with his team. The squad quickly eliminates the guards and reaches the database. Ares orders his men to stand outside while he enters the large Encom database alone. At this time, the Encom staff member on duty sees the intrusion alert and immediately reports it to his superiors. The counter-intrusion team immediately activates the security program. Meanwhile, Ares has browsed a lot of information about Eve. He sees that this woman's philosophy is completely different from her master Julian. Under her leadership, Encom uses AI technology not for military products, but for medical, health, and human education. He senses an aspect of goodness in this woman. After obtaining the data, Ares quickly leads the squad back, but the enemy has already activated the defense program, and a large number of digital soldiers attack them. A fierce battle between the digital humans is inevitable. On one side, the red light is wielding a staff, while on the other, the blue light is throwing discs. The NCOM digital humans are no match for Ares' team. The team defeats most of the enemies and reaches the edge of the city wall. Several members summon aircraft and fly away quickly. But Ares sees a tempt surrounded by opponents, left behind and with one leg cut off. Ares' lieutenant, Athena, screams for the tempt to leave, but Ares throws his signature weapon. He runs back and saves his teammate. Suddenly, Julian considers Ares' action unnecessary and a waste of time, and forcefully presses the purge button. A huge beam of red light falls from the sky and instantly destroys all the digital humans. This also completely crashes the NCOM server. Ares responds again and returns to his main city. After completing the machine, he sees that his injured companion has not respawned, so he asks his master, Julian, about it. Ares receives an answer and continues Julian's tasks, but his heart begins to change. Ares quickly browses and downloads all of Eve's information. He sees Eve and Tess's story and sees Eve crying bitterly when Tess dies. His heart races. He slowly begins to understand human emotions. Finally, he refocuses. He tracks Eve's returning private jet to Alaska, expands his search, finds the secret base, and sees the orange tree still alive and well. Julian finally finds what he wanted. Meanwhile, Eve, returning to her private jet, receives a message from her partner Ajay that her company's servers have been intruded by Julian. The rival is definitely coming for the permanence code. It seems that now their top priority is to protect the permanence code. Upon reaching the airport, Eve decides to separate from Seth for safety and heads to the NCOM headquarters. She herself takes the USB drive with the permanence code and sets off on a motorcycle. On the other hand, Julian prints the latest model light cycles at the headquarters with Ares and his lieutenant, Athena. They have to find Eve within 29 minutes and snatch the permanence code. Two light cycles quickly catch up with Eve. Sensing something is wrong, Eve increases her speed madly. Her high speed also attracts the attention of the traffic police. At that moment, Ares activates the extreme light ribbon mode. Seeing the enemy approaching, Eve quickly turns onto a side road. Ares suddenly slams on the brakes. Eve enters a parking garage while Athena is in hot pursuit. Eve waits nervously on the roof. As soon as Athena reaches the designated spot, she suddenly abandons her bike. Athena suddenly gets hit hard by the bike and falls down unconscious. Eve thinks she has eliminated an enemy and takes a breath to calm herself, but when she looks down, the body is gone. In fact, Athena has quickly recovered and is climbing the stairs. She is a digital human, different from humans. Eve is scared. When she doesn't understand anything, she sees Athena's abandoned light cycle. She tries to pick up the superbike, but it doesn't move. Seeing Athena approaching, Eve frantically presses the operation button. By now, Ares has also arrived. He tries to finish Eve off by firing light bullets, but Eve turns out to be an expert rider too. Ares suddenly stops his light cycle for a second because there is a cute child in the car ahead. He continues to chase Eve only after the car has left. Julian notices Ares' unusual behavior. Logically, digital humans should have no sympathy for humans. It seems that Ares has awakened his consciousness. Julian feels that he can no longer rely solely on Ares and orders his subordinates to prepare Plan B. Meanwhile, Eve presses the random button on the light cycle and also shoots a light ribbon. Both light cycles engage in a chase through the city. Later, both light cycles reach 1 foot, hit a pile of paper, and flip over together. Luckily, Eve falls into a dumpster and escapes. Reaching the edge of the pier with Ares, seeing no way out, she breaks the USB drive with the permanence code and throws it into the sea. Ares is also running out of time. At that moment, an aircraft passes overhead. They are Julian's subordinates. Eve watches helplessly as Ares collapses in front of her, turning into a pile of powder. The helicopter's laser scanners target Eve. This is Julian's plan B. Scan Eve as a digital human and pull her into the virtual network world. A fully digitized Eve appears in Ares' world. Ares personally installs a special ID disk for her and fully activates Eve. She never imagined she would reach this point. Julian has transported her here because the permanence code is stored in her memory, so all that is left is to extract the permanence code from her body. But there is a fatal problem. After extracting the permanence code, Eve's digital body will completely dissolve. She will disappear from this world forever and will cease to exist in the real world as well. Iris takes out his triangular disc and cuts the surrounding pipes, which causes a chain explosion in the area and completely destroys all the drones. Iris finally enters the depths with a screaming Eve. The 3D printer at Julian headquarters suddenly starts printing objects automatically. Julian, not understanding what is happening, immediately rushes to the place. It turns out that it is Iris and Eve who have returned from the virtual world. Eve has regained her human body, which surprises Julian. He did not expect that the digital human he created would betray him and help someone from a rival company. Julian immediately guesses Iris's true intentions. This digital human wants the permanence code for himself. He wants to become a real human, break the 29-minute limit, and live in this real world without any restrictions. That was the deal between Ares and Eve. Ares doesn't have time to listen to Julian's nonsense. He has 29 minutes left to find the new permanence code with Eve. Otherwise, he will disappear from this world forever. And he can't go back to the virtual world either. It can be said that Ares has no way back now. Eve drives with Ares and quickly heads towards her company. Julian won't just let them watch. He activates Athena, gives her the laser scanner, and orders her to take Eve back to the virtual world to continue the code extraction process. This time, he also provides her with a more advanced light fighter jet. While Julian is screaming in excitement, his mother can no longer bear his reckless behavior and slaps him hard. On the other side of the road, Eve explains her plan to Ares. She is now heading to the NCOM headquarters, where Founder Flynn's old office is. Perhaps the permanence code can be found there, since her sister got the idea for the code from Flynn's programs. But Ares raises a fatal problem. The journey is too long and the car is too slow. They might not make it in an hour. So they immediately turn into a gas station and steal a cool, fast car. Ares' driving skills are excellent, instantly cutting the travel time to 16 minutes and 20 seconds. It seems they have plenty of time. Arriving at NCOM, Eve enters Flynn's old office and starts a program on the oldest computer. Seth also assembles a laser scanner nearby. Eve's plan is to send Ares into Flynn's virtual world to try her luck. But as the equipment is ready, Iris's face becomes serious. He senses that Athena has arrived. Athena flies to the window but stops her actions. She is waiting for the time to run out. As soon as Ares' 29 minutes are up, she will catch Eve without any effort. Eve encourages Iris to be ready and wait for the scanner to absorb her. But the moment Iris is about to dissolve, he still charges towards Athena. Even at the last moment, he chooses to protect Eve. However, he is ultimately sent to the virtual world. Now only Eve and Seth are left to confront the powerful Athena. Seeing Athena leave, Eve thinks that she has let them go, but suddenly Athena runs back at a breakneck speed. Athena enters the dirty office with a laser scanner and finds Eve. She sees the laser device that transported Ares and destroys Ares' chance of returning. Seth rushes to fight Athena but is knocked away by a single punch. A terrified Eve runs out of the office. Just as Athena is about to reach Eve and kill her, the fire sprinklers on the ceiling suddenly activate and a large amount of water falls on Athena. Experiencing physical water for the first time, Athena momentarily forgets Eve and focuses on the feel of the water droplets. She also wakes up in the moment of this strange tactile sensation. Only when the countdown alarm for dissolution sounds does she remember Eve. It is too late now. She is reduced to a pile of powder before she can pull the trigger. Eve falls to the floor gasping for breath. She is fortunately out of danger. Meanwhile, in another world, Iris wakes up to find that this virtual world is completely different from his own, with a very retro style. A light speck flies in and gives him a summoning baton. Iris summons the first-generation light cycle. Guided by the light speck, he enters a hole and arrives inside a building. A figure slowly materializes in front of him. He is none other than Kevin Flynn, the creator of all virtual worlds. Iris tells the immortal elder his purpose. He has come to find the permanence code. After waking up, his old desire was to become human, but now it is more important for him to quickly go back and save his friend. Flynn doesn't find this imperfect digital human very interesting. Perhaps the imperfect digital human has the best chance of becoming a real human. He implants the permanence code into Iris's disc, but he won't live forever after becoming human. Ares nevertheless makes a firm choice. He lifts the disc over his head and enters the return channel to the human world, just as the pioneer had done long ago. Meanwhile, Julian is frustrated at headquarters after repeatedly failing to steal the permanence code. Suddenly, the computer signals the start of a new print job. Athena is suddenly reactivated, and this time she is transporting herself. She no longer listens to Julian's commands and operates herself, attempting to transport a giant spaceship. At that moment, Julian's mother arrives, thinking that her son has gone mad again and tries to stop him. But suddenly, Athena pulls out her triangular disc from behind and kills the mother who pressed the printer's pause button. Julian cannot believe what is happening before his eyes. Athena has only one goal in front of her: to seize the permanence code. But unlike Ares, anyone who tries to stop her will be killed without mercy. On the other hand, Eve is still in the office. She expects Julian to send more digital humans. She thinks that using the laser scanner left by Athena to connect to the rival company's server, maybe by shutting down the network to prevent the digital humans from respawning. But at that moment, the colleagues see something flying in the sky far from the window. Eve quickly hands over the decryption task to her colleagues and runs outside to see what is happening. As soon as she reaches the bottom, she sees a giant object coming out from behind the building. All the pedestrians look up at the sky, seeing such a large flying craft over the city for the first time. The crowd scatters in fear. Athena sees her target, Eve. Two fighter jets approach from a distance and fire missiles at the giant spacecraft, but the light fighters intercept them. Light fighters and combat jets engage in intense aerial combat. However, the combat jets cannot adapt to the opponent's strange fighting style. Seeing Eve running into the city, Athena fires countless light missiles. The light missiles immediately penetrate the city, quickly catching Eve and surrounding her. At that moment, a missile suddenly hits the light spacecraft. Another fighter jet has arrived. Realizing that his opponent is no match for him, the pilot crashes his fighter jet straight into it. This method is successful. The light spacecraft's right wing is severely damaged, catches fire, begins to fall towards the ground, and finally completely destroyed. But Athena emerges again in the light tank. Like a queen, she arrives in front of Eve. She ties Eve to the tank and drives towards headquarters. She wants to scan Eve in the virtual world again. The light tank is very powerful. No police car blocking the road can stop him. Just then, a man slowly walks in his path. It's the returned Ares. Ares pulls out his disc from behind. Surprisingly, his disc is now emitting blue light. He has now joined the opposing party and become an NCOM person. Athena doesn't slow down at all, charging straight at Ares. Ares attacks and cuts through the entire tank. He reaches Eve. Fortunately, she's safe. But before she can say 2 words, Athena emerges from the wreckage. At that moment, 2 digital humans also fly towards Athena. The power gap immediately increases. Ares quickly stands up and tells Eve to leave. He'll face them alone. Ares fights them fiercely. He doesn't slow down for a moment after becoming human. He barely defeats 2 digital humans, then is thrown away by Athena's launch. Athena raises a red light staff. Just as she is about to deliver the final fatal blow to Ares, Ares sees his blue disc lying nearby. He quickly picks it up and holds it out in front of him. Ares and Athena clash again. Eventually, Athena is unable to fight Ares and one of her arms is severed. Just as Ares is about to finish Athena off, countless light missiles rain down from the sky. Eve's colleagues have hacked Julian's virtual world and completely shut down its network, meaning Athena can no longer be reactivated and return. She finally falls into Ares' arms, turning into black powder and disappearing completely. All is over. Since it was all because of Julian, a large number of police cars arrive at his headquarters to arrest him. Julian, in trouble, suddenly sees on the computer that the network backup is ready. He thinks of an idea that no one would have thought of. He activates the machine again, but this time changes the settings and turns it into a scanner. So when the police break in, he is scanned in the virtual world in front of everyone. So Ares now becomes a real ordinary person. He begins to travel the world, sincerely feeling what it is like to live like a human. And he is not the only person who is experiencing this.